Sponsored by CuriosityStream, now with Nebula. CES, the artist formerly known as the Consumer Electronics Show, is kicking off this week in Las Vegas. On display and behind closed doors will be everything every manufacturer, every store thinks we're going to show up and buy come the next big holiday shopping season. iMore, Windows Central, Android Central, cord cutters, MrMobile, all my colleagues are there right now covering all of it. So keep it locked to all their links in the description for all the best, worst, and just plain weirdest of the show. Last year, I did a whole video on what I thought was going to be the coolest new HomeKit tech of the year. But some of the stuff I was most looking forward to still seems to be MIA. So rather than rinse and repeat that this year, especially in light of some of the recent announcements, I figured I should step back and take a bigger, more pictured look at where HomeKit is and where I think it needs to go in 2020. I'm Rene Ritchie, and this is Vector. I've mentioned this several times before on this channel, and I'm going to just keep mentioning it every chance I get because that's me. But HomeKit remains one of Apple's strangest brands. It's just the raw framework name, and it feels that way. Raw, technical, almost sterile. Apple doesn't call Siri SiriKit, music isn't MusicKit, arcade isn't Core Arcade, and messages isn't APN Send or whatever, but for some reason, Home is still HomeKit. I'd so much love to see that change to Apple Home. Clean, simple, friendly, dare I say it, consistent. I know it sounds small, petty even, and certainly Apple is way better at branding than I'll ever be. But every time I see the mark, the kit just sticks out at me, and the only part that should really stick out to anyone is Home. One of the most frustrating parts of HomeKit over the last few years is Apple's competitors, namely Google, Amazon, and Samsung, gobbling up home accessory makers. Samsung got SmartThings, Google got Nest and Dropcam, Amazon got Ring and Blink and Eero, and as a result, some of the biggest ones, like Nest, had their HomeKit support just seemingly evaporate, never show up. But there's reason to be hopeful here now. Apple, along with Amazon, Google, Samsung, and others, including Zigbee, even IKEA, have formed CHIP, the Connected Home over Internet Protocol project. Now, of course, I'll believe it when I see Nest support for HomeKit, but if everything works out, and make no mistake, that's still a very big if, huge if, in the nebulous future, any home accessory you buy will just work with Siri, Google Assistant, Alexa, and all the other systems. And if you have multiple assistants in your home, big assistant love, like an Android phone, an iPad, an Alexa, and a bunch of different hubs and speakers, every accessory will just hopefully work with all of them, so the pain will be shifted off customers' backs and onto the companies, where it's supposed to be. Over the last few years, Apple's gone from hardware to software security for HomeKit, and now they're even open sourcing some of it as part of the Chip Alliance. But even with all these back-end changes, I'd argue Apple still has a lot more work to do on the front end as well. We all love to complain about how controlling Apple can be, but the truth is, we complain even more about the stuff Apple leaves for other people to control. And with HomeKit, they've still left way too much control in the hands of the accessory makers and their apps. I'm sure there was a reason for it, but in the very beginning, there wasn't even a Home app. You had to control HomeKit through a variety of terrible accessory maker apps. Now, even though Apple has finally put out the Home app, the terrible accessory maker apps just keep interfering. I can't even count the number of times the Hue app or some other accessory maker app has overwritten and screwed up my home settings. Currently, I can't even use my smart lock as a smart lock because the August app only shows and shares it once every month or so if it feels like it. So I'm left using keys like an animal. And the Hunter app has just never worked for me. It's beyond time for Apple to just remove all home management features from those terrible accessory maker apps and only allow setup changes from within the Home app. I mean, I get it. I totally get it. The accessory makers want to keep control over what they consider to be their experiences, but they're just not good at experiences. They're good at making accessories. So concentrate on that, focus on that, do that, and let Apple do what they're good at, the experience. I've done a whole video on this part already, so I'll link it up below and keep the recap brief. But Apple has long believed that they need to own key technologies in order to provide the best products. And I have and will continue to argue that Apple needs to own more of the home if they really want to provide the best experience there. Sure, Apple's strategy of laser focus means they have to be incredibly selective about the products they work on and can only work on a few at a time. And they're just working their way out of an update hole where it comes to the Mac. And every blogger, podcaster, pundit, and YouTuber on the planet is more than happy to tell them how to spend their money thrice over on a daily basis. But I'm still going to say Apple needs to rethink ending their airport line of routers and seriously consider pushing out their own versions of the other most security and privacy important accessories for the home. HomeKit secure routers and cameras are fine, great even. But there are very few companies whose recent histories have given any consumer legitimate reason to trust them with our privacy and security at home, with the bits that leave our devices for the internet and with the ones that are meant to keep us safe. Apple has had their own share of screw-ups, absolutely, including with Siri grading just last year, but by virtue of their business model, even those screw-ups get taken care of quickly and have minimal damage radiuses compared to other companies that depend on our data for their businesses. So, count me among the many who'd still love to see an updated Apple-made mesh router, security camera, door lock, and doorbell, none of which store any data on any server accessible to anyone else beyond us. And if Apple really sincerely believes they just don't have the bandwidth, maybe form or buy an offshoot company like their FileMaker database subsidiary or Beats headphone subsidiary that just handles all of that, but with Apple's values and policies firmly in place. For the very same reasons why I and a group of other education-y creators have made Nebula. Creators like Thomas Frank, Legal Eagle, Tirzu, Sarah Z, CGP Grey, Lindsay Ellis, and many, many more. We're building Nebula because we want a place where creators can try out new content ideas that just might not work on YouTube, or for people who simply don't want to watch our videos on YouTube. And because Nebula now comes bundled with CuriosityStream, which is just $19.99 a year, you also get access to thousands of documentaries and series like Bright Now and the Coffee Buzz episodes, where experts reveal some of their surprising secrets that make your favorite coffee taste the way it does. By signing up, you won't just be helping me out, but the entire educational community as we work together to build a place where we can create the content that you really want us to create. Just go to curiositystream.com/vector for unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and nonfiction series, and now Nebula and Nebula Originals as well. And enter promo code VECTOR to start your membership completely free for the first 31 days. Thanks CuriosityStream, and thanks to all of you for supporting the show. I all caps love HomeKit, which is why I won't stop using it, but I also want it to keep getting better, which is why I won't let up on it. And these are the big ticket items I really want Apple to address for 2020. But now I want to hear from you. So hit like if you do, subscribe, and home style set up that bell gizmo. It's the only way YouTube will actually let you know when new videos go live. And then hit up the comments and let me know, what do you want to see from HomeKit in 2020? Thanks for watching, and see you next video.